Hey, what's up, friends? I hope you're all feeling good. So, this is my review of the games in the Women's World Cup on June 9th. I watched the previous games on June 7th and 8th, but I didn't do a preview or a review on those games. But I did watch them though, and there was some great games, some fabulous goals. I think we had a good start on the tournament so far. So the games on June 9th started off with Australia versus Italy. So as I said in my preview, it was a key game for both teams. So quite an important game, and I think Italy should be very happy with the result here. So we start off with a goal from Bonansea in the 11th minute, but after a review of the play using VAR, they determined that she was offside, and it's hard to see even on the replay, but I just assume they got it right. So no goal. Then Australia got a penalty in the 21st minute. It was a clear penalty. Gama pulled Sam Kerr's shirt. It was pretty obvious, so I think it was the right call. And then Sam Kerr scored on the penalty. Well, not actually on the penalty. She missed it, or I would say the keeper, Laura Giuliana, saved that penalty. But the rebound control wasn't great, and it came straight back out to Sam Kerr that didn't make any mistake on the rebound. So there was a 1-0 for Australia in the 22nd minute, and from that on, I think we saw some solid goalkeeping from Laura Giuliana. I think Australia, they pushed up a lot. There were opportunities for Italy, especially behind the back four. There was a lot of space, but either the runs or the deliveries weren't good enough, so they couldn't capitalize on any of that. They had a great chance, but Girelli was offside. And that was the right call, but it was a great save though by the keeper, so there wouldn't have been any goal anyways. So the stats there in halftime was 57-43 in terms of possession, and the 10th 9-3 to Australia. So as you can see, Australia, they had most of the game, most of the play, and they felt heavier and they felt stronger in the first half. Italy, they made a substitution at halftime. Lisa Bartoli came on instead of Aurora Galli. And then in the 56th minute, Andrea Bonansea scored for Italy. And that was thanks to a horrible mistake by the Australian defender. It's a poor touch. And then she was a bit lucky, Bonansea. When she took the shot, she actually slipped. And then the shot went straight between the legs of the other defender, and then no chance for the goalkeeper. So she was a bit lucky, but you know, a goal scorer, they're always, I think they're always lucky in terms of goals and being in the right place and the right time. So I think that was a nice goal. And then another substitution for Italy, Daniela Sabatino in, and Ilaria Mauro out. And I think from this moment on, Australia, they had most of the possession. They couldn't really create any great chances. And then in the 61st minute, Devana came on instead of Chloe Logarzo. And I thought a lot of us were a bit, I guess, surprised when we saw that Lisa Devana weren't starting the game. But yeah, she came on in the 61st minute, and then 2 minutes later, Girelli got booked. And then in the 69th minute, there was another penalty situation, and there were no hands, even though it came off her hand, her arm. Devana's arm, but after a VAR situation, they rule out the hand starts, so no penalty. In the same situation, Katrina Gori came on instead of Hayley Riso for Australia, and then a minute later Valentina Tsenoya got booked, and then in the 76th minute Lisa Devana got booked as well. And as I said previously, in the first half, a lot of space behind the Australian defense, but they couldn't still capitalize on it. The deliveries were not good enough and the runs were not good enough, and that way you won't score any goals. And we kept seeing some solid goalkeeping from Italy, and from this on I thought that it resembled good old-fashioned Italian soccer teams, the old Italian men's football teams. You have a lot of possession as an opponent, but you don't create anything, and the clock is just ticking. And then Italy, somehow they get not penalties, but they get free kicks, throw-ins going their ways, and in the right moments to slow down the game. There was a couple of those in the box. Could have been a good chance for Australia, but there was a free kick somewhere for Italy instead. So I felt that Italy, they had control a little bit of the game, even though they didn't have possession. Then Valentina Giacinti came on instead of Valentina Bergamaschi. And then at the end, in the 83rd minute, Elisa Kalonait came on instead of Tameka Jalop. And then Italy get a free kick in the last minute of stoppage time. And on that free kick, Barbara Bonansea scores her second goal of the game and the game winner. And I could feel as soon as the keeper came out, I felt like, no, she's way off. And Bonansea could just head that one in. So it's a great goal, and it's a great win for Italy. And the rest of this group stage here is going to be very interesting. Now Australia must win their next game, and I believe their next game is against Brazil. And Italy, if they win against Jamaica, they're in a very, very good spot. And Australia lose against Brazil, all of a sudden, they might see their way out of the tournament. So this was sure a key game for both teams. Now the stats here for the game was for possession 57% for Australia and 43% for Italy. The attempts 17-5, on target 7-3, block 3-1, cards 3-1, saves 1-6. So keeper, as I said, very solid for Italy. And the corners were 6-3 and offsides 4-8. So that was the first game of the day. The second game was between Brazil and Jamaica. And right before the game, we got news that Marta wasn't playing due to an injury. So the coach decided to save her for later on in the tournament, which I think was a good choice. I think they would like to have her on the field, maybe not starting the game, but come on at least in the last game of the group against Italy, right? You would like her to have a few minutes before the knockout phase starts. So in this game, first 10 minutes, lights out Brazil. I think they had 4 or 5 great opportunities, a couple of corners, but the Jamaican goalkeeper, she played excellent this game. She's the only reason it was 0-0 after those first 10 minutes. She made a couple of great saves. She had a great game overall. And another player for Jamaica that was also pretty good was Kaija. She started off really good. She was the only threat, really, and she posed quite a threat for Brazil. Then Cristiane scored for Brazil in the 15th minute. And if you're Jamaica and you at least hoping to get something from this game, you gotta play solid. You gotta have solid goalkeeping. and then you can't make any mistakes defensively. And this crossing was one of those mistakes that you can't afford really. The defender, you can't let Christiane go up undisturbed like that in the box. The defender backed away when she should have get closer in, maybe give her a little shove before the ball came in, just to throw her off a little bit. Now she could get up undisturbed, and it was pretty easy for her to redirect that one. And yeah, the keeper Schneider didn't have a chance on that one. Then 2 minutes later, Konya Plummer gets a yellow card. That meant that one of your central defenders has a yellow card pretty early in the game. That was probably not according to plan. And as I said, Schneider, she kept playing well, and we will see that later. But first, I just want to say that Shaw, she kept being a threat. She had a great shot, which the Brazilian goalkeeper had to make a great save on. And then Andressa in 36 minutes misses a penalty. But I would say that Schneider, she saved that penalty. She had a really solid first half, and the stats here for the first half, 56-44% in terms of possession. But you can see that attempts were only 9-8 for Brazil, despite all that possession and despite that great start that they had. But it was a real gutsy performance from Jamaica in the first half, and you could feel the crowd was coming on. They could feel it. They were the crowd, the fans, they were not for Brazil. The neutral part of the crowd, they were all in for Jamaica. And yeah, Jamaica, I think they surprised a lot of people in their first half. Now the question was, can they carry it on to the second half? And to do that, they need to keep a clean sheet as long as possible, and then take advantage of the few opportunities that they're gonna get. But Christiane scored a second goal just 5 minutes in, and again it was a giveaway in the midfield, and then they forgot the far post. The ball came all the way through the box, and then it was easy for Christiane to open net to score that one, even though one of the defenders almost were able to clear it on the goal line, but yeah, you could tell the ball was in. And then in the 58th minute, Formiga gets booked. Then in the 62nd minute, Jodie Brown comes on instead of Chena Matthews. Chena Matthews, she was a little bit invisible in the second half. And then Christiane scored her third goal, a hat-trick, in the 64th minute on a great free kick. And yeah, there was no chance for the keeper. Maybe she took a step to right a little bit too early, but I don't want to fault her for that one, because I think it was a great free kick. We have to celebrate the effort and the skill from Christiane in this case. And the ball just barely again crossed the goal line, but I think the referee has one of those wristwatches that vibrates if the ball crosses the goal line. And then a minute later, Gacy comes on instead of Beatrice, and Ludmila comes on instead of Christiane. So Christiane with a hat-trick. And then a couple minutes later, Chinule Asher and comes on instead of Havana Salon. And then a couple minutes later after that, Diane in and Kathleen out. And then another substitution for Jamaica. Tiffany Cameron in and Trudy Carter came off. Trudy Carter had a pretty good first half, kind of quiet in the second half, but whole Jamaica was pretty quiet in the second half, even though they got one good chance. And at the end there, it was just a wait time, like, can Jamaica get their first goal in the tournament? And they they pressed up and they pushed up, had a few opportunities, but no luck today. And then in the 82nd minute, Diane booked. So final score 3-0 to Brazil, and the possession was 57-43 for Brazil. Attempts 18-13, And on target 6-3, the block shots 4 each, and cards 2-1, and saves 3 each. It feels like Schneider made a lot more saves, but yeah, she was really solid. And the Brazilian goalkeeper, she was solid when she needed to be. She made one mistake though. She dropped the ball, and Kaija was really close to score in the first half. And the corners, 10-3, Brazil, and offsides 2-3 for Jamaica. A gutsy performance in the first half for Jamaica, but it wasn't enough. Brazil was just the better team, and I think it felt good for Brazil to get a win. They've lost 9 straight games coming into this tournament, so getting off a good start, I think can do wonder for this Brazilian team. I do believe that they have problems in defense, and I think against better teams they will be exposed. But have a couple of days to work things out, so we'll see how it goes at the rest of the tournament. And the last game of the day was the highly anticipated game again, between England and Scotland. And also in this game, one of the biggest stars in this tournament was out due to injury. Toni Duggan. She only participated in light practice the day before, so she was ruled out pretty early. Reports saying that she might be back for the second game. But now they won this game, and I'm not sure what they will do. They might save her for later on, because they're meeting Argentina. It's a game they should win, even without Toni Duggan. So that might be a good idea to rest her for this game as well. Now it started off. As we would expect, England with a lot of possession, but Scotland had a few counters that could have been more dangerous if the passing was a little bit better. Then in the 13th minute, there was a penalty. The referee didn't see it first, so it was a VAR decision. But it took some time for the referee to decide whether to call it or not. The ball clearly came off the defender's hand or arm, but I think the referee deemed it that the arm just made the defender's body bigger, so that's that. So she awarded a penalty for England, and Nikita Parris, she didn't make any mistakes. It was a good penalty. And during the first half, England dominates possession, and they were clearly more comfortable with the ball, and you know, most of this they have more experience. These players, it's the first World Cup for the Scottish players. And then in the 40th minute, Ellen White scores for England the second goal just before halftime, which is always devastating to get a goal against you just before halftime. The feeling going into the locker room is just much worse after conceding late in the first half. A couple of minutes later, Jenny Beattie gets booked, and as you can see there, the possession is clearly in England's favor, 66-34, and the attempts were 7-3. So England were clearly a better team in the first half. Now, second half, you would hope that Scotland would come out as a new team, maybe try to establish themselves, but England get a goal after 1 minute, but fortunately for Scotland, it was disallowed for offside, and I think she was offside on that goal. Then Nicola Dockery gets booked early, and that made the coach to actually substitute Nicola Dockery for Percy Smith. And then in the 71st minute, Karen Carney comes on instead of Beth Mead. Then Chloe Arthur comes on instead of Sophie Howard. And then Claire Emsley scored first Scottish goal in the World Cup. It was a nice goal. and but it was a little bit too late. There was not enough time left to really go for it. In the 82nd minute, Georgia Stanway comes on instead of Frank Kirby, just to secure things up a little bit for England. And then in the 87th minute, Lizzie Arnott comes on instead of Christy Murray in the last attempt from Scotland to get something from this game, but to no avail. And the final stats, there are 56-44 in terms of possession, and attempts 14-8, on target 6-4, blocked shots 2 apiece, and cards 2 for Scotland, none for England, saves 4 each, and corners 9-2, and offsides 3-1. So I think in the end the better teams won. The better team won this game at least. So there's going to be an interesting second round of these two groups, and with this win, and depending on the result between the other two teams in this group, Argentina and Japan, I expect Japan to win this, and then the whole thing could be over by next round in terms of the two teams that are gonna be directly qualified for the next round. So there you have it. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next.